Hello students. So we are going to discuss in this video regarding sulfuric acid, which is also called as king of chemicals. Fine. Now sulfuric acid can be prepared in the industries on large scale by using a process called as contact process. Now students, we have to remember that is contact process is entirely having 4 steps in it. Okay. The first step the first step I have written A is the formation of SO2. Now how we can prepare SO2, how we can manufacture SO2? There are two methods. Either by burning sulfur or by burning iron pyrite. So first step is formation of SO2. Now the next step is conversion of SO2 to SO3. Fine. Now we have got sulfur trioxide gas in presence of vanadium pentoxide as a catalyst. This sulfur trioxide gas, when reacted with sulfuric acid, okay, we get oleum. It is H2S2O7. Okay, we get oleum. I have written again oleum. Now this oleum, on dissolving in water, we get sulfuric acid. So this process is called as contact process. Now we shall discuss the chemical properties of sulfuric acid. Now we all know that sulfuric acid is acidic in nature, as in the name itself acid is written. By why sulfuric acid is a dibasic acid, we are going to study that now. Okay. Now why sulfuric acid is known as dibasic acid? The answer is hidden in the formula of sulfuric acid itself. Sulfuric acid is having two replaceable H plus ions. Okay, two replaceable H plus ions, hence it is called as dibasic acid. And how to prove that it is having two replaceable H plus ions? What we do, when we dissolve sulfuric acid in water, we get hydronium ion. We also get bisulfate anion. Okay. Now this bisulfate anion, when further reacted with water, we get sulfate ion. So it means we are getting two type of ions. Okay. Hence it is understood that two hydronium ions has been produced when sulfuric acid is dissolved in water. Okay. So this is the reason behind this. Now suppose if I take sulfuric acid and NaOH. If I take H2SO4 plus NaOH, fine. Now according to the first reaction, if you see what is written, we get bisulfate ion. So I write over here NaHSO4. Just check NaHSO4. So what is left out now? Water, isn't it? So this is bisulfate, sodium bisulfate. Fine. Now this sodium bisulfate, if further reacted with NaOH, that is base, okay, what are we going to get is Na2, Na2SO4. Okay, so Na2SO4. So what is left out? Just check H and OH. So we are going to write H2O. So this is called as bisulfate. Hence we say that sulfuric acid is a dibasic acid because when it reacts with the base, it gives rise to two types of salt. I said two types because the first type is acidic salt, it still contains hydrogen, and the second type, this is a neutral salt. Okay. So this is the proof that when one molecule of sulfuric acid reacts, it requires two molecules of NaOH because 2H is going to neutralize 2OH. So we are done with the topic, with the subtopic that why sulfuric acid is a dibasic acid. Now we move on to the next. As you can see, it is written oxidizing property of concentrated sulfuric acid. Now students, what is the meaning of oxidizing property. The meaning of oxidizing property is that it oxidizes the other element. Okay, suppose I say that X is an oxidizing agent. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is X is able to increase the oxidation state of that particular element. Okay, with this note, let us move towards the oxidizing action of king of chemicals, that is H2SO4. Fine. Yes. So we have over here oxidizing property of concentrated sulfuric acid. Yes, I have written sulfuric acid, then copper. See, the oxidation state of copper is 0. Okay, it is a metal, it is 0. Fine. But when it reacts with sulfuric acid, what is happening? You might say it is a displacement reaction. That yes, it is a displacement reaction wherein copper is combining here CuSO4 plus SO2 and water. Now just have a look at copper oxidation state is 0, and what is the oxidation state of Cu in CuSO4? It is +2. So H2SO4 has oxidized copper to Cu +2. Okay, copper to cupric, Okay, now we have one more reaction over here wherein non-metal is taken. One of the non-metal example I have written sulfur. Okay, sulfur is taken, sulfuric acid, and we are getting SO2 and water. Now here what is happening, if you look at the oxidation state of sulfur, it is 0, and look at the oxidation state of sulfur in SO2 is 4. So 0 to +4, there is increase in oxidation number. So sulfuric acid is oxidizing agent. Students, I have taken one more example, that is carbon plus sulfuric acid. So what is happening here? Carbon oxidation state is 0, and just check here, the oxidation state of carbon is X minus 2 into -2, that is 4 is equal to 0. So X would be what? It would be +4. So carbon 0 to +4. Okay, so basically oxidizing agent is an agent which increases the oxidation state of a particular element. Okay, now we move on to the very important property of sulfuric acid, which is called as dehydrating action of sulfuric acid. Students, dehydration means what? Dehydration means loss of water molecule, or we say removal of water molecule. It means that sulfuric acid is helpful to remove the water molecule from a particular compound. Fine. Now this is a compound which is C12H22O11. This is cane sugar, or it is also called as sucrose. Okay, so when you take sucrose and you add sulfuric acid into it, please make sure that it has to be concentrated sulfuric acid. What happens is we get carbon. Okay, we get carbon and we get water. So because water molecule has been released, we say that concentrated sulfuric acid is a very good dehydrating agent. Okay, this property of concentrated sulfuric acid you will also study in the preparation of ethers from alcohols. Okay, now we move on to the next topic, that is reaction with the salt. Okay, here I have written NaCl, KNO3, CaF2, that is sodium chloride, potassium nitrate, calcium fluoride. These all are salts. So when they react with the acid, what are we going to get? We will be getting the corresponding compounds. Okay, so as you can see that when NaCl reacts with H2SO4, we get sodium bisulfate. When potassium nitrate reacts with sulfuric acid, we get potassium bisulfate. When calcium fluoride reacts with sulfuric acid, we get calcium sulfate. Now sulfuric acid is over. Here we move on to the next compound of group number 17, that is chlorine. Chlorine symbol is Cl, and in the form of molecular formula if you say, it is Cl2. Now students, chlorine gas was discovered by Scheele. Okay. Now how to prepare chlorine gas in the laboratory? Some of the reactions I would like to share with you. Just have a note of it. First method is using manganese dioxide. The formula of manganese dioxide is MnO2, and you add hydrochloric acid to it. So what will happen? We will get MnCl2. So we are getting MnCl2 plus chlorine plus water. So here we are having chlorine gas in the laboratory. This is the method. Second method is also you can add HCl to potassium permanganate as well. So when you do this, you get KCl, MnCl2, water and chlorine gas. Okay. Now one more method is there, students, wherein what are we doing is we take NaCl. Okay, what we do, we take NaCl and we add sulfuric acid to it. So when you add sulfuric acid to it, what is happening? We are getting HCl. Just see here, HCl, and what is left now? NaHSO4. NaHSO4. Fine. Now sulfuric acid is again reacted with MnO2. So we get manganese sulfate, water and nascent oxygen. Now pay attention. This nascent oxygen and this HCl released in these two reactions, they react with each other and we get water and chlorine gas. Fine. Now when you get this, you have to balance the reactions. Okay, you have to balance the reactions. So what we do is we balance the reactions. When you will write this reaction in your notebook, you will be able to balance it accordingly. So we have balanced the reactions and I have written here 2NaCl plus 3H2SO4. Okay, because if this is 2 and this is 1, 3H2SO4 plus MnO2 forming 2NaHSO4 plus manganese sulfate plus water plus chlorine. Okay, so these were the methods of preparing chlorine gas. Okay, if you see in all the reactions, the product we are focusing is chlorine gas. Fine. Now there is one more method of preparing chlorine gas. It is called as Deccan's process. Now what is this Deccan's process? In Deccan's process, we take two raw materials, that is oxygen gas we pass oxygen gas over hydrochloric acid which is available in the gaseous state. Okay, and this is done in presence of CuCl2. Fine, CuCl2, and we get chlorine gas and water. Remember the temperature conditions 723 Kelvin. Now the next process is electrolytic process. Now electrolysis of brine solution. Sorry. Now what is this brine solution? Brine solution is 10% NaCl. Okay. What do we do? Please remember, it is 10% NaCl means it is having NaCl as a solute and 90% is the water. Okay, that is the reason I have written here NaCl dissociation as well as water is also there. Okay, so when you pass electricity from 10% NaCl, what do we get is we get Na plus, Cl minus. Na plus, okay, gets attracted towards cathode which is negatively charged. Okay, so Na plus will go and will take away the electron and will form Na solid. Students, it is this Na solid which combines with the water, okay, which combines with the water and you get NaOH and hydrogen gas. This reaction we have also done in the chapter that is electrochem. Okay, but we are not bothered with the preparation of hydrogen in this particular chapter. We have to focus on chlorine gas. So at anode what will happen? At anode negative charge, that is chlorine, will be attracted. So chloride, it is chloride anion. Chloride anion will go and will lose the electrons. Okay, so I have written this reaction in two steps. Okay, if one Cl minus is there, it will lose one electron. So two such Cl will combine and we will get chlorine gas liberated at the anode. Yes, we are done with the properties of chlorine. We are done with the preparation of chlorines and we'll begin with the chemical properties of chlorine. Now, as you can see, I have made this chart which would be helpful to you. Let us use this chart as follows. Okay. So, we have chlorine gas which I have marked in purple. Chlorine gas reacts with metals. Okay. Al, aluminium, sodium, iron. It forms respective chlorides, aluminium chloride, iron chloride, iron 3 chloride, okay, or ferric chloride, NaCl. So, this first I have explained. Fine. Chlorine gas reacts with the metals to form corresponding chlorides. Okay. Chlorine gas also reacts with the non-metals to form corresponding chlorides. This is phosphorus trichloride and this is sulfuryl chloride. Okay. Now, here we have hydrogen. We all know that hydrogen reacts with chlorine to form HCl. Now students, in the competitive exams as well as in your board exam, there is one all-time favorite question of the examiners, and that is, what is the action of excess ammonia on chlorine? Okay. And the next question is, what is the action of ammonia on excess chlorine? Okay. So, if you notice, in the first case ammonia is excess, in the second case chlorine is excess. Now, we are going to discuss what will happen when ammonia is excess. Okay. So, I begin my explanation as follows. Just see what I have written. I have written NH3 excess. Okay. I have written NH3 excess plus, instead of iodine you can write chlorine also. Okay. So, when ammonia and iodine, or else I will write like this, when ammonia reacts with chlorine, this is excess. Okay. So, how you remember the products? I am giving you one trick. Okay. What you do, excess it is, no, ammonia is excess. So, nitrogen, it is 1 nitrogen, in the product you write down 2 nitrogen. Okay. Plus. So, what is the second product now? It will be HCl. Fine. Now, it is 2 over here, I will write here 2. 2 3s are 6. So, I will write here 6. So, how many chlorine? 6 in the product. Reactant also 3. So, this reaction is balanced. But when ammonia is excess, the reaction will not end over here. The reaction further proceeds. And what happens is, HCl which is formed over here, okay, HCl which is formed over here will further react with the ammonia because ammonia is in excess. Okay, and then we will be getting ammonium chloride. Okay. Now, what we have to do is, we have to balance the reaction. Now, you might be thinking, what we have to balance? See, HCl. Okay, HCl. So, if I write here 6, I write here 6, fine, I write here 6. Okay, students. So, what will happen? This will get cancelled and we will be having 8 NH3 excess plus we will be having 3Cl2, that is gas, and then we will be getting N2 nitrogen gas plus ammonium chloride, yes, which is solid. Okay. Now, the same reaction if you see, I have written here, but it is iodine I have written. Okay. So, we have done, if ammonia is excess, what will happen? Okay. Now, just check, it is Cl2, it is Cl. Okay. Now, we will move on to next, as I was saying that what happens when chlorine is in excess. Students, when chlorine is in excess, you have to remember that you increase the subscript of chlorine. It is just to remember. Okay. You will get NCl3. So, 3 it is. Okay. So, you have to balance it. I will put 3 over here. Hydrogen is 3. I wrote 3 here. Chlorine becomes 6. So, I wrote 3. So, excess, if chlorine is excess, then this is the reaction. Now, next is action of chlorine. Action of chlorine on various reagents, or action of chlorine with various reagents, where I have written number 6. Just make a note of it. When chlorine reacts with the cold and dilute alkali, okay, what happens? cold and dilute, and alkali is NaOH. We get NaCl, we get NaOCl and water. Okay. So this 6th point is over. 7th. In the 7th point, I have discussed that if alkali is also there, but it is concentrated and it is hot, in this case what happens is we get NaCl, but we get over here NaClO3 and water. These are just the simple reactions you can practice and you can learn. Yes. 8th one. Now what happens when chlorine reacts with methane? Chlorine reacts with, what is this? C2H4, it is ethene. I mean to say that hydrocarbons, isn't it? We have studied in 11th standard that when chlorine reacts with hydrocarbons, we get alkyl halides. Okay. If it is CH4, we will get CH3Cl. Okay. And if it is C2H4, I will be getting C2, what I will be getting? H, yes. So 2Cl2, fine, 2H. Okay. So let us 1, 2, H, here Cl, Cl, H, H, H. So I will write here C2H4, Cl2. Okay, it's looking a little shabby. See, what I explained is this C2, C2H4. Okay. If we are adding chlorine to this, what will happen? Chlorine will be added across the double bonds and you will be getting this. Double bond will break and chlorine will be added across. So the formula of the compound would be C2H4 only, but Cl2. Okay. Now, yes, we move on to next property of chlorine, which is very important property, that is oxidizing property. Okay. Now what is this oxidizing property? Let us understand. Chlorine can behave as oxidizing agent only and only in presence of water. Please remember this. Okay. When chlorine reacts with water, it forms hydrogen chloride and hypochlorous acid. Now these two compounds reacts with each other, okay, and they give HCl and nascent oxygen. It is this nascent oxygen, students, which is released from this mixture will be able to oxidize the another element. Okay. I have written here that chlorine reacts with water and you get HCl and nascent oxygen. So directly from here I wrote over here, and it is this nascent oxygen which really carries out the oxidation. Have a look at this reaction now. Yes, it is FeSO4. Fe is having what oxidation state? Just see, FeSO4, just have a look over here. Ferrous, it is Fe2 plus. Okay, ferrous in presence of sulfuric acid, acidic ferrous sulfate reacts with nascent oxygen and you get ferric sulfate and water. So you add these two reactions, we will get chlorine, chlorine, FeSO4, FeSO4, H2SO4, H2SO4, nascent oxygen gets cancelled, okay, and water also gets cancelled. So this is the final reaction. Now what is happening in this reaction? Have a look at ferrous getting converted to ferric. Okay, so oxidizes, chlorine is oxidizing ferrous to ferric. Yes, we have another example wherein, can you see this, sulphite SO3 minus 2 will be converted to SO4 minus 2. Okay, now sulfur is having oxidation state here plus 4 and sulfur is having oxidation state here plus 6. So sulfur will be converted, that sulphite will be converted to sulphate. So 4 to 6. There is increase in the oxidation state, students. Okay, just have a look at this reaction. Na2SO3 plus Cl2 plus H2O forming Na2SO4 and HCl. So here we have sulphite getting converted to sulphate. Here we have one more reaction wherein sulfur 4 oxidation state is plus 4 and sulfur is plus 6. So sulfur dioxide, moist sulfur dioxide reacts with chlorine to form sulfuric acid and HCl. This reaction already, students, we have covered in the SO2 topic. Okay. Now, so we have completed the oxidizing action of sulfur dioxide. Okay, here one more reaction is there, oxidizes iodine to iodic acid. Okay, 0 to plus 5, 0 to plus 5. I have written the reaction also over here, I2 plus 6H2O plus chlorine forming iodic acid and HCl, and later on I have balanced. Okay. Now, next is bleaching action, which almost I have covered, chlorine plus water forming HCl and HOCl, HOCl forming HCl and nascent oxygen, and it is this nascent oxygen which is known to bleach the vegetable matter or colored matter. Whatever is the color, suppose if it is green color, green colored substance is there and you add chlorine water to it, that green color will disappear. Okay, so this is the bleaching action of chlorine. So in this video we have covered sulfuric acid and chlorine compounds. We have completed preparation of both and we have completed the CP, that is chemical properties. Okay, pause the video in between whenever it is required, practice the reactions and keep practicing the reactions. Thank you.